Hi, Erin.
Hi, how are
How
you?
are I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Oh, good. Well, happy Tuesday. Happy Toolbox
Ha-
Tuesday.
Love it. Happy.
Yeah. So we sorry, I'm just getting over being sick, and so I still have
Yeah,
that awesome nasal sound to me, but
I just got over that. So
oh,
yep.
well, the show must go on.
Yes, it must.
Yeah. So I'm not totally with it, but I'm gonna hopefully the two of you or the two of us can get through this and get some good information out to folks. But the whole point of the Toolbox series is to arm parents with more tools for their toolbox because parenting kids is life's grand improvisation. We are all winging it.
Yes, there's no manual.
There's no manual. I mean, there's some classes, but I
Yeah,
mean, really, most people spend their lives telling you what they want to tell you, but not kind of the nitty gritty that you need to know. So that's
exactly.
all tried, true, trial by fire.
So true. And I love all the resources. I even feel like within the 7 years that I've been a parent, there are so many more resources out there now
It's
that I'm like,
true.
I wish I had all of this,
I know it's
7
really
years ago.
true.
Yeah,
And so we're trying to bring it to folks,
love it.
because I'm not a big researcher myself. I was totally a cobbler's son who had no shoes. I've been in the baby business my entire life. It's a family business. We're almost 50 years old, and I was raised with Prince Lionheart, but I went in and had kids and
Yeah.
barely remember to bring my own product home for them. So it's I am
I love the videos. I think they're great. They're like, they're
good.
super informative. You've got great people on. I've been really enjoying them. So
Oh, I'm happy
it's
to hear
pretty
it.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully others. So we try to, align ourselves with some experts to get a little bit
Hmm.
more in depth on some topics that are going to help parents be better parents,
Love
and make the family life a little bit smoother because we all know it's got its bumps and we can all use all the help we can get. So
So true. Well, I'm here to help however I can.
awesome. So I have spoken to various potty experts, and I had a thought today, and I don't know if it's because I'm coming out of a cold or what, but I had a thought, and feel free to say no. But we've asked so many questions, and it seems to me that a lot of the questions that people have are very specific to their own child, right, and
Hmm.
their own situation. So, I mean, we've asked a myriad of those, and we've gotten a myriad of answers, which is all great. But what about? I was just thinking, what if you and I were to talk today about parents who are thinking about potty training,
Hmm.
working up the mental toughness to do so, right? Because it's
Hmm.
just as much about our journey as their journey,
So true.
and being ready to see it through, which is really important.
Hmm.
But what if we were to discuss today, like kind of let's go through what we think, whether it's a weekend or a week, or a month, or however you would want to frame it, of let's prepare someone for potty training, like
Yes.
what we would do, right? So if we're going to make it like a week, or maybe you suggest you can do it in a weekend where you're just dedicated, committed, whether you're staying home or whatever it is, maybe we can talk about, okay, let's think about that and let's do that. And then maybe that'll give folks some real like kind of ammunition and
Yep.
motivation and inspiration to say, hey, we're doing that this weekend. We're going to take a long weekend. I'm going to take a day off work
Yep.
or whatever it may be. Maybe we can kind of think through that and talk through that because that's something we have not done.
Sure.
And I think it's bite sized enough for parents to say,
Yeah.
okay, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that. I can get the underwear. I can get
Hmm.
the
Kind of like
motivation.
checklist.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
this is what you guys need.
And
Are
that's
you
how I like. That's how I like to work. I think if you look at things incrementally, I don't know, maybe I just made up a new
yeah,
word,
like in
um
chunks, right?
in
Totally.
increments, then you're able to almost like, okay, I can get to that step, and then I
Totally.
can get to the next step. And I think that's really important. I tell parents all the time that I work with that the preparation is, I think, just as important as the actual implementation of the
Yeah.
potty training, right? So how are we going to be as prepared as we can be so that when we do take off that Monday and we're ready to go,
Yeah.
okay, we're 100% ready.
We're in.
So do you want me to talk about that first a little
Well,
bit?
let's
Yeah.
first, if you're up for that, do you want to do that today? Do you want to do that
Sure.
today? Okay, let's do it. Totally throwing
Absolutely.
that curveball at you. So I
Sure.
just want to
Because
make sure that you're up for
absolutely.
it.
There
Okay,
were a couple of the questions too that were kind of geared in that area anyway,
cool.
such as kind of how do we start and what kinds
Yeah.
of things should we have ready. So I feel like the questions almost kind of geared us towards that.
I feel like it's
So
gonna, but
yeah,
let's back it up a little bit and start with
sure.
first how you got to
Oh, sure.
be where you are, and
Yeah.
how you found your path along the potty training expert field.
I love my path. It was a very like organic, unplanned kind of a path, which is very against who I am as a person. I'm very type A and a planner, and everything's ready. I used to be so for 8 years. I was an elementary school teacher. I
Oh,
taught
cool.
third and fourth grade.
Nice.
Loved my job. Super passionate about teaching. Then became certified to be a reading specialist, and so I did that for a couple of years until I had my oldest son, who's now 7.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we ended up needing a sleep consultant because he was a very troubled sleeper and I felt very unprepared. I kind
Yeah.
of read all the books up to, giving birth. And then I like, it was like, what do
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
now? So
You wing it.
yes, I did. I was winging it. And then around 5 months, I had to go back to teaching. I said, I can't do this with him waking up, every 2, 3 hours. And so we hired a sleep consultant who happened to be the founder of Ready to Potty, who I now work for, Violet. Who's fantastic. And so she helped us tackle that, which was life changing in a way that when I decided that following year after he was born to stay home, that I still wanted to work. I'm very ambitious and very driven and love to be busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got certified under her to be a sleep consultant.
Cool.
So I did that. And then the potty training course came available. And I said, I feel very unprepared for this part of my life. And when I feel unprepared, I want to get the knowledge. I want to again, reach out to my resources and figure out how I can best tackle it and be prepared. So I
Yeah.
took the course to become certified
Uh-huh.
and then kind of had my own 2 kids that I tried it all out on. And they potty trained pretty easily, I would say.
That's
So
awesome.
that's kind of how I came into this, and it's fantastic. I love it. It's just a different avenue for me to help families through,
Yeah.
sleep consulting and potty training. I get to work with the best families, the best kiddos, and it's super awesome. I love it.
Oh, good. Well,
Yeah.
that's very cool to hear. So your entire life has been dedicated to kids and families. That's really neat.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's very rewarding and just I meet the best families all over the world. So yeah, very cool.
Cool. And you have one of each?
I have 2 boys.
Two boys. Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of boys, I was just kind of, people say that it's harder to potty train a boy than a girl, because of, well, anatomy and everything else,
Yeah,
standing, sitting,
of course.
all kinds of stuff. And
Maturity levels sometimes
yeah,
people say plays a role. I mean, they both
aiming.
did really well. My second gave me a little run for my money. I remember calling my mom about a weekend and being like, I don't know, I might hold off for a little bit. He might
Right.
get a little, and I swear, like the next day, it was like, there he goes.
Oh, there you go. Oh,
So
cool.
sometimes, yeah, it's just that little bit, when we think they're not, and they just needed a little bit more time.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important for people is, there's all these 3 days out there and weeks and timelines, which are great. They help kind of
Yeah.
frame to give you an idea of how long it may take, but you want to kind of take the cues from your kiddo and then really like sit back and see what are they telling us.
So I guess that's a good preface for the thought of the topic today, which is it would be awesome to say, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself because I'm going to get myself in that mindset where we're going to dedicate like a 3-day weekend or a
Yeah.
4-day weekend to this, but also managing your expectations and that you're still dictated by your child and where they are and all that type of thing, right? So
Yes.
expectations can lead to disappointment, but if we were to kind of create an ideal kind of potty training boot camp type inspiration for these folks, what would it look like to you based on all of your knowledge and all of your experience? What would it look like to you?
Well, I like to start off by thinking, are they even ready? Right? We
Yeah.
want to have that, and how can we tell that they're ready? There are some key key indicators that they may be ready. Age wise, are they at least 18 months preferably about the 2 year range. They tend
Hmm.
to do better. I know some parents do a little earlier, but that's kind of a key one, at least that 2 years. Are they communicative? Are they able to use the language that they can communicate to you that they need to use the
Hmm.
bathroom? That's also important. Whether it's, I've had conversations with parents, whether it's sign language or it's their actual words,
Yeah,
whatever that is, they have to be able to communicate it with you, or at least something.
sure.
Are they able to, kind of pull the pants up and down so that when they have to go to the bathroom, they're able to do that? What if, you're washing your hands in the sink, and are they
Yeah.
able to do that? So we have that. Are they able to do that? Are they interested at all? You definitely, and this is a big one, I think, because some parents are like, well, they're not interested, and that's okay. But you have some parents, some kiddos that are really interested, and they want to know what mom and dad are doing in the bathroom, and they want to be just like big brother or sister.
Sure.
You don't have to have that, but of course, the more interest you have, the more easy it may be. So, are they interested in it? Is a question that I ask potential families. I'm trying to think what else. Are they, a big thing? Are they able to kind of hold it or wait a couple of hours between the times that they need to use the bathroom? That's a big one. Thinking about like nap time, that's kind of the
Hmm.
biggest. Or outings. Have
Yeah.
they gone and then 30 minutes later they have to go again, which of course may still happen. So those are just some of the kind of the big points. If you're like, yes, they are ready to go, or even if you're kind of in the middle of like, yeah, they're good, yeah, we can wait, I say, why not try it? Start having the conversation with your child, even if
Hmm.
it's a one-way conversation.
Yeah.
They may not be able to communicate totally with you yet, but they understand so much more than
Sure.
what they're able to come back at you with. And so I just remember always talking about it. It was like I was a broken record. Hey, we're going to start using the bathroom soon. Are you excited to use the big potty and no more diapers? So have it become part of your daily conversations with them throughout
Yeah.
the day. That's really helpful because you want to start planting the seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's a good thing to do. Along with, again, teacher coming in, books. They're fantastic. They don't
Yeah.
have to, it doesn't have to be a specific book. Any books that kind of highlight or even have a part about using the bathroom is great, because you're going to pinpoint that as you're reading the books to them, and they're going
Yeah.
to be able to relate to that. And oh, wow, look at the smile on their face. They're
Yeah.
using the potty. They're so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to start getting them excited for it.
Okay, cool.
Videos, yeah, videos are great too.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what about supplies?
Supplies, yes. So in this area, you want it to be things that your child is invested in. Because if you're just going to the store and you're picking everything out for them, it may be something, and the things that they want, but you really want them part of the process. And so having them go with you or even sit next to you on your phone while you're scrolling through Amazon to pick out the underwear, to pick out even the potty type. That's a big one, because there are the seats that go on the big potty, and
Hmm.
then there are the little potties that kind of just go on the floor, maybe in the bathroom or wherever you're going to place them. That is a big choice for them. So you want them to pick kind of which one. The big potty can be very overwhelming for some kiddos. So having them decide on which one maybe they like, it's a Minnie Mouse or it's a dinosaur one, that'll be really helpful to having them be part of that process.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that regard, I've experienced well, I potty trained my son and not knowing exactly to your
Mm-hmm.
point which he would rather prefer,
Mm-hmm.
a toilet topper or a standalone potty. I had both,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually warmed up mostly to the standalone potty because he's able to. I was actually able to park it in front of Right or Wrong, the TV, and let him hang out there because nature takes a long time to call as
Yes,
their
it does.
little abdominal muscles are figuring out and they're feeling, oh, I have that feeling. I'm going to sit here. He just sat there comfortably, happily, and watched Mickey Mouse Clubhouse for the most part. And
Yeah.
that was actually, I mean, he was so proud of himself when he would actually look down or something
Yeah.
yellow or brown, and he was like super stoked, and I was too.
Yeah.
But I think my recommendation would be you don't know which one, they don't know which one.
They
Maybe
may not.
grab one
You're
of
right.
both, right?
Yep.
And then the only thing that I can add as well, coming from the industry and knowing far too much about potties than I care to even know, is that comfort is key because nature takes a long time to call. So sometimes when there is like a tempting Minnie Mouse or something, they may not always be the most comfortable. And the kids end up getting uncomfortable and not wanting to sit on the potty, even if it's their favorite little character. So just buyer beware. I think the quality of the equipment is really important. Just like it reminds me of wrapping presents.
Hmm.
At Christmas time, when you buy cheap wrapping
Oh,
paper,
yeah.
you're
It
just like,
rips and
it
tears. Yeah.
rips, it
Oh,
tears,
yeah.
and it makes the process so incredibly painful. But when you
Yes.
buy good paper, it's like, you're like,
Absolutely.
okay, I can do this.
Yes. Yes.
So
And
potty
it's,
training is like wrapping
it,
presents in my
I
mind.
like that analogy. I feel like I'm going to use that.
But that's the thing that I can add
Yeah.
from. I mean, I feel like we do the best in potty on a worldwide basis. We won all the awards, but it's so true because a lot of the people, a lot of the manufacturers use just the yellow sponge that's
Yeah.
super cheap and they cover it with a plasticizer that is like a licensed whatever Paw Patrol or whatever, and it just bottoms out.
Yes.
And it bottoms out onto polypropylene plastic, which is hard, and the kids just sit there and they end up with red lines across their legs or whatever. Anyway,
Always the little lines
so
on their little toes.
equipment
Yes.
matters in my mind.
Oh, absolutely. I think so too. And but yeah, you're right. You never know. I do like how, you kind of had both. We happen to have both as well. And it was interesting to see kind of which one they chose. My
Yeah,
oldest was the same way. He picked the
yeah.
potty in front of the TV. My youngest, I think because he had the older brother and the parents,
He
he's
wanted to
always
be like,
trying to
yep,
seem older.
totally.
He wanted the one with the step stool up to
Yep,
the big potty,
yep,
and that he never went back.
yeah,
So yes, that's big. But finding what works for them, and I think
totally.
even if you buy something first, kind of be ready to do something else if you have to. If it's
Yeah,
not,
yeah. It's totally worth it, right? We've all been there.
absolutely,
It's totally worth it.
it's
And those
so
aren't
worth
things
it.
that you really return. Once you use
Yeah.
a potty, it's yours. So enjoy.
Yes,
but,
it's yours for the
but
go, maybe.
yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so those are some key things along
Okay.
with kind of that preparing with, the books or the videos or the
Yeah.
potty and the underwear of their choice. The next big thing is, and I know, this can be controversial, but I'm all into, positive reinforcement with the kiddos. I want
Yeah,
this
me
to be,
too.
yeah, a positive experience for them.
Yeah.
And just like anybody, when something happens and you do good and you're learning a new skill, it's like, oh, okay, this is going well. I got it.
Yeah.
So I like to build in some sort of a positive reinforcement. And it doesn't have to be food. It doesn't have to be a little trinket toy. It can be. I mean, I used both.
Yeah.
I like to remind people it's all temporary.
Yep.
It's going to be used a lot kind of in the beginning, maybe. And then you just kind of slowly wean it away as they're doing really well. And you're building that intrinsic
Yeah.
that motivation for them and that whole positivity geared towards it.
Yeah.
But it could be, I always point out, so it could be the trinket, it could be a little food treat. My little son, little marshmallows, loved. It also could be, and I'm surprised at how many families use this, like 10-15 minutes alone with mom and dad. Like
Oh,
you get
wow. Interesting.
special
Quality
fun
time.
time. Yes, because we're
That's awesome.
so busy. And
Yeah.
some kids they don't get that individualized. There's days where it doesn't happen here. We're so busy.
Yeah.
And so if that's something that your child craves, that one-on-one attention, that could be easily built in,
I
even
like
before
that.
breakfast.
I like that.
Yeah, older kids, you can, come up with things together, like a special walk at night with mom or an ice cream date or something. But
Yeah.
you want it to be relatively on the smaller side because as they're going, you want to be able to reinforce that time.
Yeah.
It could be something like that.
Well, we did actually with both my kids, two of them. I still
Mhm.
wanted to go in terms of potty training, but we actually did kind of like a delayed gratification, but it had some instant
Yeah.
gratification where I chose or actually had them choose marbles.
Mm,
And marbles are so beautiful, and they're so like amazing and mesmerizing in many ways, kind of like fire in
they
some
really
ways,
are. Yeah.
right? And so, like before with my son, he's older, he's 13 now, but we went to a local toy store and bought some small ones for pee and big ones for poop, and then put them in a jar depending on what he did, and then he got to earn a Jessie doll from Toy Story because that's what he loved. So it was like kind of like instant gratification because the
Yes.
marble was so cool, but then also delayed gratification, and we're working towards something. And then with my daughter, same thing. We did it. They didn't have the big marbles, so we just did the small ones. But she loved like choosing the marble, and
Yeah.
like that was an experience in and of itself. She also, believe me, she'd rather have an M&M probably. But I was like, okay, let's try this and see if it
Yeah.
works with her. Kind of a different kid from my son, but it was working. And then she got to earn a crying baby. So, but it was really cool because she got something at a time. She was so
Yes.
excited about her marble, but then she was filling the jar, and I said, "Oh, you're almost gonna get your crying baby."
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I
then
love it.
and then
And
it
I
was
love
there,
that
and then I'm like,
reinforcement you
and then
had
I'm
with
like,
it.
"Oh no, the crying baby needs batteries." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Well, you get the baby now, and then you earn the batteries." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta go get
How can
batteries."
I draw this out anymore? I love it. I love it. No, it's fantastic. That's exactly, and a lot of people do that with stickers. They find
Yeah,
their little
yeah,
child
totally.
loves a sticker chart. Same type of idea. Have them pick the stickers.
The motivation.
The thing is, they're interested. If your
Yeah,
child doesn't love blueberries, don't pick blueberries. They're not going to work for it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
that's,
It's
yeah, if
so
they don't
true.
like stickers, don't pick a sticker. It
Yeah,
has to be something they're invested in and maybe your choice. But if you're finding, again, kind of on the flip side, they may love the marbles to begin with for that first week.
yeah,
They're doing
right.
great. Then you
And
start
then they're
maybe
like, wah
weaning
wah.
back. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Well, then we need to change it up. That
Yeah,
was very common when I was in the classroom too, working with children with maybe behavior charts, same type of idea.
yeah,
They're kiddos. I mean, their interests change, all of it. So you may don't
yeah.
be afraid if you have to change it if you find they're not as interested or invested.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay, so we've got rewards, and then we're hoping for consistency and then some ownership, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
The
Um,
consistency is so important. I mean, you want to, I would say, like, kind of find your goal. What are we trying
mhm.
to do? And
Yeah.
keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah.
And because that consistency is so important, they're gonna kind of try to find any bits of inconsistency and
Yeah.
target that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, do you suggest like kind of scheduling P trips, finding their biorhythm,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
what do you suggest for the consistency for parents who are kind of like working up the mental toughness to do this?
Yeah. I think, again, to sit back, think about it for a minute and see what category does your child fit into. They usually fit into two. One
Hmm.
of them being, they do well with the directions like that.
Hmm.
Okay, it's been maybe every 30 minutes you may start with, or every hour, with the reminding, or let's go sit on the potty.
Hmm.
For other children, it becomes a power struggle if you do that. So
Hmm.
you could set those timers and that's fine, but then it becomes a thing with them. And then they're mad at you. You're
Yeah.
yelling at them to go sit on the potty. I like to then transfer where that is coming from. And I have suggested for children who that may be an issue is set a timer on Alexa. Even though you're
Oh.
setting the timer, Alexa is telling them to do it if you have an Alexa or a Google or something,
Right.
because she's the one that's going to say it.
Yeah.
So that could help. Along with, there are these great tools called the exact names are Potty watches. Some of you
Hmm.
may have heard about them. I've had clients that have used them with great success. It is a watch. They have different colors that the child can wear, and you set the time that you
Hmm.
want it to go off. But again,
Gotcha.
it kind of puts it on the child and
Right.
something else that it's not you. So you're kind
Right.
of, in many cases, avoiding the power struggle.
Right. Gotcha.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
But yeah,
Okay.
30 minutes is a good place to start. It may be something you have to play with a little bit,
Hmm.
upwards of an hour, because you don't want them to get then frustrated, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but it may be a lot in the beginning, and then as you kind of see what they're doing, then you can almost back it up, like maybe 30 minutes to start, but then you see a little, maybe we bump it to 45, and then
Right.
maybe an hour.
Yeah.
But that's pretty appropriate to begin with.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So the consistency, and then at some point hoping that they take the ownership themselves for the long term, and we're actually done with this process.
Yes, they should do that. I think we expect them to get it in the 3 days.
Yeah.
100%, they're going to be fantastic. They're never going to have an accident.
Yeah.
In reality, I think if you kind of set your mind to this, like, there are probably going to be accidents. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe not. There are some children that they're potty trained and they're good, but
Yeah.
have that mindset that their kids, their attention span, isn't terribly long at this point.
Right.
So just know, but reminders are not terrible. I
Yeah.
try to build in with my families, with my own children, times where they kind of go. So I may still remind them, but it's built into their schedule.
Right.
Such as when they wake up in the morning.
Wake up.
They're always going to the bathroom.
Yep.
We're very active people. We're out a lot with friends and activities and family and all of that. Before we leave in the morning, it always is around that 10:30, 11 time. We're going to use the bathroom again if you haven't.
Yep.
Before nap time.
Before naps. Yep.
Yep. Before naps, after naps, before bed. So if you build those into your schedule and it just becomes a thing for them, that it does happen to be every couple of hours. If you really break it down, you're like,
it's true.
Okay.
Yeah, throughout the day.
Helpful too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, then that's great. So what are anything, we'll throw it out there for things to try to avoid doing, like giving up. Because sometimes, it's like better to stay the course, right? Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes if there's a major transition or something that's happened, then you just give it a break for a little bit. But I'm guessing more often than not, it's like, keep one foot in front of the other. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? It's just like, keep plugging along, right? Is that safe to say?
Yeah, it is to a certain extent. I find that if we kind of like lay it out and say what's kind of the timeline, almost we were kind of talking about that in the beginning, and you have that idea, things to kind of know where you're going, about how long, and you can kind of see the progression, then you will know when, what, it maybe isn't the time and we need to take a break and revisit this in 1 or 2 months.
Sure.
Because that's a lot of time when you're talking maybe about a 2.5-year-old or whatever. There's so much happening developmentally in those moments. But
and that's okay. That's okay for people because it's their readiness. And if you don't want to push something on them, because then it can actually make them delay it a lot longer. They'll just resist it, and that sucks. We had to do that because they're all different, and it's like, nope, we're actually not quite there yet.
It's not the moment.
It's not the time.
Yeah, you want to stay. I say you want to be their biggest cheerleader. If you can almost fake it until you make it, kind of in some situations, because the first few days are potentially going to be really hard. And they're going to have accidents, and they're going to, mess up this whole new way of being. We've kind of ripped away a huge chunk of their lives. There's no more like the
talk about a security blanket.
Their security blanket. So you want to be consistent. You want to be their biggest cheerleader. Make it, even if on the inside you're like, oh, try to stay
true.
positive.
Don't get mad.
It's really hard though sometimes, but it's a new skill. And things, another big thing is you don't want to use the pull-ups during the process. Or the diapers during the process. That's another kind of don't. Some people use that, use those for whatever moments, but it's really best if you don't, because we want them to get used to it without that. And that's kind of a thing I see a lot is, well, we use them for this, or we put it on for this case. We want to kind of get them used to this new way.
Yeah, that's interesting. That because it's a crutch. Because actually, we're doing that, and I know better. I'm like, why am I doing that? But I know better.
It's hard to say, though. Now, for example, when they're ready to potty train, theoretically, they should be able to go the 2 hours for nap time. Yeah. Right? Kind of a typical
for sure.
nap time. But I kept them because my child neither one used their diapers to go to the bathroom at nap. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And so I felt comfortable. This is where you have to do it what's right for your family and what works for
Yeah.
you guys. If I found that they were kind of holding everything until nap time or bedtime or whatever it was to go, then
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't have kept them. But they weren't really. They were going easily before. They were going when they
Yeah.
woke up. I felt their sleep was as much of a priority. And so, you know, you kind of do. But if you don't find it's hindering your child in any way or their progress, then you can. But I
Yeah.
think in a lot of situations, they kind of do hold it or use it for that
Yeah.
comfort. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been driving a fair bit, and there's some pretty sketchy public restrooms. So
Yes.
we do keep a little a potty pot in the back of the
That's
car to
great.
just pull out and let them.
Yeah.
But on the times that I haven't had it, because we had a flood in our house, and it's just been we've been displaced a lot.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, just go in your diaper, just like
Yeah.
But I'd rather have you go in the diaper than that scuzzy bathroom. And then
I 100%
so
agree in that situation.
so actually, funny enough, Papa, my dad, he came up with a portable a potty seat to go for
Love it.
nasty public restrooms. And so, but even having to go into them, and I'm
I
like,
know.
I don't want to do it. So I'm like, just go in your diaper.
I know. I agree. And if they'll do it and then transfer back to the toilet,
Yeah, right.
go
That's
for
the
it.
hope.
Absolutely. Well, this is like a little tip I just learned from well, this was a year or two ago, but you know, my kiddos were kind of good to go at that point. I said, I wish I knew this. I think everybody knows it. I'm probably like repeating,
Oh, I'm
but
excited.
it's not that impressive, but for me it was. I always had the potty in the back of my car, right?
Yeah.
Like we're going to the parks and
Yeah,
you know, do
tailgater.
porta
Yeah.
potties and all
Yeah,
of that.
for sure.
But they
For
put the
sure.
doggy bags in the
Oh, the potty?
seat. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's brilliant.
So that when they, you know,
They made their own little potette.
yes,
That's
and then
brilliant.
they take the potty bag out and
Makes
go.
so much sense. Okay,
It blew my
you
mind.
just blew my mind.
It blew my mind. That was a great on the go because then who wants to like? I can't even tell you how many times I had the potty and I was like, what do I do with it?
Yeah, wipe it out. I know.
Yes, wipe it out. What am I taking it out with? The
Yeah.
doggy bags. Beautiful. It was perfect.
That's brilliant. Oh, good. All right.
Yeah.
Note to self, because I mean, we carry him around anyway for our dog. Just throw him in the potty.
There you go. You've got them. Easy carry.
You know what? Awesome. And on that note, that's a nugget and that you just shared with everyone. So that's a bonus. I love that.
Perfect.
Awesome. All right. Well, we have come to our stopping time, which we try to keep these things to 30 minutes so that they're bite-sized and doable. But there were a lot of folks who joined us, and and I think there was we covered a lot of ground and hopefully inspired some people with the mental toughness to be able to take it on, knowing that it's not going to be like a genie in a bottle, in a 72-hour, 48-hour period, but you're going to make a lot of progress with the tips that you've provided them today. So if there are any other remaining questions that people have, which I think people didn't ask any specific questions on this session now, but they can find you at Erin at Ready to Potty.
Yep.
So I thank you, Erin, for the info and the nugget, which I'm going to think about for future nuggets, like literal nuggets.
Literal. Absolutely.
As we're out with our dog and our family, being mobile, which is what we are, especially now. But that's awesome. And I appreciate the insight and I have one more to go, which is going to be awesome. And I'm going to go actually rip off the diaper from my one that we recently potty trained because I realize I know, but I'm just sitting here going, I've done how many of these now, and she's in a diaper right now, even though she's able to go to the bathroom.
I always think it's more us too.
I think it is totally me right now.
Like I remember looking at my husband being like, I know he's ready. I don't know if I'm ready.
100%.
And we have to be because we have to, bear the brunt. But
100%.
Push us a little. Yeah.
I have a lot going on right now. I'm not ready.
Not tackling that right back in.
Yeah.
He's okay. He's okay.
So true.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It was so awesome to be a part of this.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Erin. This is really helpful stuff. So thanks for all the insight. And for everyone, if you want to find Erin, she's at Ready to Potty. And we will go ahead and post this and then also include the written version as a blog post. So thank you very much, Erin.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Have a great night. Bye.
Thanks. You too. Take care. Bye-bye.